Welcome for the topic of corpus luteum formation and regression. The corpus luteum, which are formed after ovulation. It is the mixture of granulosa and the theca cell and differentiated into luteal cell under the influence of a luteinizing hormone. And this corpus luteum become the source of progesterone, and progesterone is the pregnancy hormone, and it progesterone which maintain the pregnancy in domestic animals. So this corpus luteum becomes the source of progesterone throughout the pregnancy in some animals, and in some animals it play a very significant role, source of progesterone in early life of pregnancy. So let's see how the corpus luteum is formed after ovulation. So let us refresh ourselves. What are the structure of a Graafian follicle? So we have theca cell, then granulosa cell, and cumulus oocyte complexes. So at the time of ovulation, these cumulus oocyte complexes are escaped from the follicle, and the leftover structure becomes the corpus luteum. So let us see how it occurs. So we have the Graafian follicle, and at the time of ovulation, there is LH search, and the follicular cells secrete proteases which digest the protein and the cellular matrix, and due to the digestion or the cellular matrix in the superficial part of the ovary, which makes a way to escape the oocyte from the follicle, and this is called ovulation, and this structure is going to form the corpus luteum. So corpus luteum formation and regression. So we have this structure after ovulation in the ovary, granulosa cell and the theca cell. And just after ovulation, this structure is filled with blood and blood clot. And the blood vessel of the theca layer, they will invade this area, and after ovulation the follicle will collapse, invasion of the blood vessel, and the area is filled with the blood and the blood clot. And at that stage, this corpus luteum is called, this structure is called corpus hemorrhagicum, and it is also known as bleeding corpus luteum. So after formation of this corpus luteum, the granulosa cell will uh, this granulosa cell proliferate, and the blood clot, they provide the nutrition for the granulosa cell proliferation, and also the blood clot gives the frame for the growth, for the proliferation of the granulosa cell, and these granulosa cells are luteinized by LH, and the granulosa cell and the theca cell become now luteal cell under the influence of LH, and under the influence of LH they starts producing progesterone, which is a pregnancy hormone, and this progesterone will increase concentration due to the luteal activity or the corpus luteum, the cells in the corpus luteum, those are luteal cells. And if the animal is not pregnant, then this corpus luteum is degenerate by the action of PGF2 alpha from the non-pregnant uterus, and it will regress day 14 in most of the domestic animals. And the corpus luteum of non-pregnant uterus or non-pregnant animal which is destined to regress, this is called corpus luteum spurium, and this corpus luteum will regress on day 14 in most of the domestic animals. And if the animal is pregnant, then this corpus luteum will remain, and this corpus luteum remain and the corpus luteum is prevented from destruction. So if the animal is pregnant, the embryo present in the uterus and the implantation of the embryo, it prevents the uterus to secrete luteolytic PGF2 alpha, or the presence of embryo modulate the synthesis and secretion of PGF2 alpha. Therefore, this corpus luteum will remain if the animal is pregnant. And the corpus luteum in pregnant animal, it is known as corpus luteum verum. And this corpus luteum, which will remain throughout the pregnancy in some animals, and except few animals. So it will provide progesterone source and maintain the pregnancy, and it will grow in under the influence of LH, and more production of progesterone. The production of progesterone will increase, and the maturation of the corpus luteum will occur, and it will provide or maintain the pregnancy in the animal and provide huge source of uh, progesterone or higher concentration of progesterone, which also prevent the ovulation or follicular phase. So that structure, corpus luteum in pregnancy, is called corpus luteum verum. So during the time of delivery, the uterus motility will increase, and the uterus secrete the luteolytic PGF2 alpha. Luteolytic PGF2 alpha secreted by the uterus, and they will act upon the corpus luteum verum or the corpus luteum present in the ovary, and that luteolytic PGF2 alpha cause regression of the corpus luteum, and that regressed corpus luteum is called corpus albicans. And this corpus albicans is remain in the ovary for few months as a scar tissue in the ovary. So that is, we have seen four type of corpus luteum. So let us see what are the hormones that are luteotropic. Luteotropic means they will maintain the corpus luteum or enhance the production of progesterone. LH in ruminant and horses are luteotropic, and prolactin in rats and mostly rodents. But both LH and prolactin are necessary in canine and sheep, and estrogen in rabbit and pigs. These are the hormones known as luteotropic in these animals. But the color of corpus luteum in cow and mare is intense than other species due to lutein pigment. So the lifespan of corpus luteum, it is controlled by the uterus or uterine secretion of PGF2 alpha in ruminant, cow, ewe, does, and also in non-ruminant like monogastric animals, mare and sow. So PGF2 alpha released from the non-pregnant uterus about day 14 post-ovulation, which cause luteolysis, and presence of embryo modulate the synthesis and secretion of PGF2 alpha and prevent luteolysis. Therefore, the corpus luteum will remain throughout the pregnancy due to this embryo, which prevent the secretion of PGF2 alpha. But in case of beech and queen, the final regression of corpus luteum is not known. So this corpus luteum is remain in beech 75 days, queen 35 days, and how it is regress, it is not clearly known. So luteolysis, how does the corpus luteum is destroyed or degenerate? The anatomical arrangement helps the diffusion of PGF2 alpha from uterine vein to ovarian artery and thus delivered to the ovary. So here in this picture, the uterus, they are secreting PGF2 alpha, they are absorbed by uterine vein, And when this uterine vein is moving away from the uterus, so they are come in contact with the ovarian arterioles, and due to their very close contact, wall to wall contact, this PGF2 alpha diffuse from vein to artery, and the artery taking blood to the ovary, they deliver the PGF2 alpha to the ovary, and they destroy the presence of corpus luteum in the ovary. And this phenomenon, this diffusion process, we can also call as a countercurrent mechanism. This is how it occurs. And if this is very important, from uterus through vein, then it comes to the artery, then delivered to the ovary for the destruction of corpus luteum. So that is very important for degeneration of the corpus luteum. If PGF2 alpha don't diffuse and it comes to the circulation, here PGF2 alpha is rapidly metabolized in systemic circulation. Almost 90% of PGF2 alpha metabolized in the systemic circulation, and therefore very minimum amount is left over, which cannot cause luteolysis. Therefore, this prevention of the PGF2 alpha should be prevented to enter the systemic circulation. Therefore, this diffusion of PGF2 alpha and delivered to the ovary play a very significant role for degeneration of the corpus luteum. The PGF2 alpha synthesis from uterine horn influences the lifespan of ipsilateral ovary in cow and ewe. It means, suppose there are two uterine horn. If left uterine horn is producing PGF2 alpha, this left uterine horn PGF2 alpha will degenerate or regress only the corpus luteum present in the left ovary, and this PGF2 alpha cannot cause degeneration of the corpus luteum in the right ovary. That is ipsilateral, same part, left side ovary, left side uterine horn. But in case of sow and mare, PGF2 alpha synthesis in any horn is sufficient to cause luteolysis in both the ovary. The regression of corpus luteum in different domestic animals: cow 14 to 15 days post ovulation, ewe 12 to 14 days post ovulation, sow 13 days post ovulation, mare 17 days post ovulation. The presence of embryo modulates the synthesis and secretion of corpus luteum, synthesis of luteolytic PGF2 alpha, and prevent the luteolysis. Persistence of corpus luteum. Prolongation beyond 14 days, about 1 to 5 months, is known as persistent corpus luteum. The persistent corpus luteum prevents follicular phase and its ovulation. Persistent corpus luteum is due to the failure in the synthesis of PGF2 alpha by the uterus. So let us summarize what we have learned. Corpus luteum, there are 4 types of corpus luteum: corpus hemorrhagicum, corpus luteum spurium, corpus luteum verum, corpus albicans. Corpus hemorrhagicum, it is also known as bleeding corpus luteum, where follicle collapse after ovulation and it is filled with blood and blood clot. So the blood clot becomes the frame and nutrition for the proliferation of granulosa cell, and there is invasion of blood vessel from theca layer, and there is angiogenesis, formation of new blood vessels, and that area becomes rich of blood supply, and the cells, granulosa cell and theca cells, are luteinized under the influence of luteinizing hormone, and they start producing progesterone. So corpus luteum spurium. So it is the corpus luteum of non-pregnant uterus. Theca and granulosa cell differentiate or luteinize for the production of progesterone. Because it is the corpus luteum of non-pregnant uterus, this corpus luteum destined to regress. by the action of PGF2 alpha from the uterus, and it will undergo regression. Then corpus luteum verum. This is the corpus luteum of pregnancy. Luteinization of granulosa and theca cell. They continue to produce the progesterone under the influence of LH. Then maturation of the corpus luteum occurs, and they will produce more amount of progesterone. And presence of high concentration of progesterone prevent maturation of follicles and its ovulation, as well as prevent uterine motility. It maintains the pregnancy. Corpus albicans. It is a regressed corpus luteum due to the action of PGF2 alpha. Then luteal cells are lutealized, and it is left as a white body replaced with other tissue, like it will remain as a ovarian scar which is made up of or replaced by collagen tissue. So this type of corpus luteum we have seen. And what are the factors that affect the corpus luteum maintenance? And those are called luteotropic or luteotrophin. Luteinizing hormone in ruminant and horse, prolactin in rodents, both luteinizing hormone and prolactin in canine and sheep, estrogen in rabbit and pig. The lifespan of corpus luteum is mostly controlled by the uterus or uterine secretion of PGF2 alpha in most domestic animals, and presence of embryo also modulate the synthesis and secretion of PGF2 alpha, and that also prevent luteolysis, where the corpus luteum will continue and they will continue for the production of progesterone. But in case of bitch or dog and queen in cat, how does the regression of corpus luteum occurs? It is not clearly known. And let's see persistence of corpus luteum. The corpus luteum failed to regress, or the corpus luteum remained. It may be failed to due to the synthesis or the secretion of PGF2 alpha, which might be in the most of the cases it is inflammation in the uterus or inflammation in the endometrium. Regression in non-pregnant animals. So on an average, cow 14 to 15 days post ovulation, and ewe 12 to 14 days post ovulation, sow 13 days post ovulation, and mare 17 days post ovulation. So this whole about the corpus luteum and formation and the regression we have seen in this lecture.